So, I'm Aaron.
I'm Derek.
And this is a review of M. Night Shyamalan's
The Last Airbender.
You know, the other critics over the summer trashed this movie, trashed him, didn't like didn't like what he was doing.
And we're gonna do the same thing.
No, because
Oh, okay.
I got 2 points to make about all the trashing that they were doing. Okay, granted, the movie wasn't by any means the most spectacular or the best that's ever been made, not by a long shot. But you gotta think about this thing. Here he's taking this whole season of episodes from a great animated show, trying to squeeze it into an hour and a half. You can't do it. So when a person will watch this movie, oh, so disjointed, I don't understand what's going on. Of course it is. They're putting a whole season in one movie. So for a lot of these ones out there, I don't believe they've ever seen the animated series to begin with.
They have, who knows? The one thing that I do that bugs me about the movie so much, going along with this point, is that it needed to be longer.
Yeah, it needed to be a 3-hour movie.
It really needed to be a 3-hour movie. Basically, what they should have done is given him more time. Yes, the animation and the fighting and the 3D, we could have done without the 3D and given him more of a budget towards something else. The 3D, it's a gimmick to get people to go to the movies, I guess, now. A lot of times it's not really done very well. This movie, there was a few shots in 3D that were worth anything at all, but most of it wasn't. We could have had the same action and the same fight sequences and everything in 2D and been perfectly happy. The opening and the last 30 minutes of the movie were wonderful. Mm-hmm. There's a scene in it where the blue spirit ends up, you see him and he does his thing. That's a wonderful scene because it's done exactly like the show. There's other scenes in there where certain characters say, like Aang has a speech in the movie that's actually Katara's speech in the show. And it's kind of understandable as to why, but it's not really solidified very well. And the plot moves way too fast all the time. There's a new point coming out. You don't get a real feel for any of the characters, and the characters are what made the animation, because it's not Japanese, so great. It fell flat on its face for a lot of reasons that are rather unfortunate. Because we're both huge fans of the show.
Yeah, the show was awesome. Yeah. Now, there's the big thing for my second point. Why couldn't? He may have wanted to have a 3-hour movie. He may have wanted to do all that. But everyone, you got to remember when you're dealing. He was just a director, and maybe he did, and he was the writer of it. But you get the money from the studios. You get your go-ahead from the studios. Everything comes from whatever studio, whoever's backing you. So if they're not going to give you the budget, or if they're not going to give you the money to be able to do a 3-hour movie, you're going to have to deal with what you're given.
Yeah.
I believe that was a very big handicap against the director and against the movie, and he wasn't able to put in as much that he would have liked, or probably the fans would have liked, because of those kind of constraints. Now, I do have one bone to pick with the director, with M. Night Shyamalan, that everyone else has. Yes. You don't take a beloved show that everyone likes, is very popular, was one of the most popular shows on Nickelodeon ever had as an animated show, and change the name of the main character. We don't care if it sounds more, like its Oriental origins. If it was meant to, they would have had that in the show to begin with.
If Nickelodeon screwed it up, then that's by all means Nickelodeon screwed it up.
But that's how we know the guy.
All culture.
Shut up.
We know.
You're hurting yourself. That's how we know the character. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. You don't suddenly, take Captain Kirk and say, oh, well, his really pronunciation was Kirk. And now you're Captain Kirk. Instead of Captain Kirk.
It's true.
You don't change, It's not, Mr. Spock, or Mr. Spoke, instead of Mr. Spock.
Yeah.
You don't change those kind of things, those pronunciations. That's the biggest beef. And I think that's why a lot of people, were turned off from it. Mm-hmm. Maybe they became fans of the show for the movie. That can turn them off.
Yeah.
That's my biggest beef with the whole thing.
Yeah. One of the issues that I have with it also is M. Night Shyamalan, don't get me wrong, he's an awesome director in his genre. This is a movie
doesn't
that was
really have a
completely
genre.
out of his genre. Well, no, you know how he has that whole, you know,
Twist!
yeah,